word just cracks me up.
I don't know who sits down and thinks these things up.
I don't know, but I'd pay him money. I mean, it's just, woo! Oh my goodness. Speaking of detective, oh, and before I forget, I want to mention again, Patrick Moss, who does speech. He's the forensics whatever for East and Chase High School. They are actually sending students to the championship, the national level championship for speech and debate. And he has put on his own personal credit card over $5,000 to go ahead and pay for the trip so these kids can go. And this is a really, really, really big deal. And I think our community needs to reach out and support our teacher and support our kids. And they can make a check payable to Chase High School, put in the memo line, speech and debate, and then they can reimburse him, as needed. But for a teacher to put their own money on the line, that's some kind of good teacher.
That's a teacher who really takes his job to heart.
Yes, he loves his kids, he loves what he does, and he'll sacrifice to get them the education and where they need to be. I mean, it's a big. I mean, you're nervous, you're excited, you can't believe you're going to nationals, and then it's like, we don't have the money to send you. I'm sorry. So he stepped up and he's put his money in there. So I think we need to kind of help him out. So, but anyway.
We'll mention this again at the end of it.
Yes. So what we're going to talk about today, a lot of what we do as realtors is we are Sherlock Holmes. We have to discover certain things that may be wrong with a property, that might need to be fixed or repaired or something like that. One of the things that we have to do is when we have a listing and we're talking to our seller, we need to find out, you've got a mortgage. Are you up to date on your mortgage? Because we kind of need to know, are we dealing with a potential pre-foreclosure situation? Are we dealing with a short sale situation? If it's in foreclosure, there's several people that need to know. The realtor, for one, and the attorney. Once you get under contract, that closing attorney needs to know that this is in pre-foreclosure or foreclosure proceedings have already begun. If a foreclosure has already started, when we go to list the house, then the realtor should call the attorney and say, listen, this is what these people are trying to do. They want to sell the house. Can we sell the house? How much time do we have? And how much money do we have to have? Because if you sell your house and you owe money and they don't recoup that money, then that looks like you had a, quote, bonus because you didn't have to pay your whole mortgage off. So you're going to get hit with some tax liability. Also, if your house goes into foreclosure, that hits your credit, and it hits it hard. I don't think a foreclosure doesn't hit your credit score as hard as a bankruptcy does, but it hits it. Short sale doesn't hit it as hard. Now, a short sale is anything but short. It's going to take a while, and what that basically means is the bank is willing to come up short with what you owe. You can't make your payments, but the bank is willing to take, what you can and sell it, and they'll take a loss, and so that you can move on. There's also this thing called a deed in lieu. What that means is you're going to deed your house back over to the bank instead of going through a foreclosure. So there's a lot of things that we need to know when we're talking to you as a seller so that we can prepare and help you along the way. People don't file for foreclosure every day or for bankruptcy every day. They don't have foreclosures every day. So they don't know what they need to do. So as realtors, it's our job to handhold you through the process. Estates are the same way. If somebody has passed away, we need to make sure that the person that's trying to sell the property is the one that is, in fact, able to sell the property. So when somebody passes away, you'll go to the courthouse and you'll open a probate file. They will walk you through. I mean, those people over there are super, super nice. They will help you through the whole step. Everything you need to know, they will help you with that. And so when we're dealing with an estate, we're going to usually ask for possibly a copy of the death certificate. We're going to ask for the letters testamentary. That's what you get from the courthouse that tells us, yeah, you're in charge here, basically. We may get a copy of the will. It depends on what you don't have. We may need to go get a copy of this kind of stuff ourselves as realtors, because one, we've got to have it in our file, and we've got to let the attorney know. Once you get under contract, we send all the offer, all the paperwork, the deed, any estate stuff. We send all that to the attorney immediately, so then they can look at it and they can say, oh well, we need this as well, or we need that as well. They can start doing what they need to do. When they do a title search, what they're doing is they are looking at this deed, making sure everybody signed off on it. If it's in an estate, if this property was inherited, now what they're doing is they are going to probably pull the will and look at the will. If the will says this property was left to, Tom, Dick, and Harry, and, only Tom and Harry are trying to sell it, Dick, you can't leave, Dick out. You got Tom, Dick, and Harry. It's got to go through all three.
What if Dick's deceased?
If he is deceased, then it goes to his children. Unless the will is written in such a way that when one child dies, then it's to be split equally among the remaining two. Sometimes a lot of people will have in their wills, basically, last kid standing gets it all. And sometimes they will say, we do not want this sold until, the last person has died and their kid inherits it. That's what we call controlling from the grave. I do not recommend it. I also don't recommend leaving property to 4 or 5 kids. If you want your kids to have something, why don't you in your will say, my property is to be sold and divided equally among whoever's left or whoever you want to have money. Because when we list a property that has been left to 4 or 5 people, 4 or 5 people have to sign the offer to purchase. They have to sign the listing agreement. They have to sign everything, and their spouses. So when you're dealing with a person that lives in Texas, Louisiana, Maine, Georgia, and North Carolina, you've got to get this to all of these people. They all have to agree. And so typically what I strongly recommend is if you've got that many siblings or nieces, nephews, whatever, if you're leaving property to a bunch of people, those people need to get together and choose one to be the spokesperson for them and to be the power of attorney for them for this transaction only. It makes it a whole lot simpler. Realtors we'll still talk to all, everybody if they want us to, but that one person is the one that's our contact, and it makes things go so much smoother for everybody. So that's something to think about. I mean, nobody wants to think about, dying and losing loved ones, but that's something to go ahead and, in your head, if you haven't made your will already, you probably need to, but that's something to think about, because when you die, somebody's going to be left to clean up your stuff. I mean, you can't just die and it's going to stay here forever. It's got to be disposed of somehow. And it's just kind of, we'd love to have our loved ones back instead of their stuff. But the reality is, life goes on, and you either have to move with it or you just get stuck. So we help you to try to move through that process. When there are if there's people who have land in Rutherford County or a house or a second home, we got a lot of second homes like in Lake Lure and stuff. If they pass away, but they live somewhere else, I mean, they can live in Charlotte or Hendersonville or California. When they pass away, they're going to do their estate probate stuff where they lived. What they also need to understand is wherever you own property, you also have to do a probate in that county. So I've got one now. The man passed away, and I called over there to the wills and estates people, and I'm like, okay, I've got this situation. Does she need to open a whole probate here? Can she just send you copies of what they've done in Hendersonville? And the woman's like, oh, no, 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 no. She can send us what they've got in Hendersonville. Just send us certified copies, and then we'll tell her what we need else from her if we need anything. And I'm like, yes, because the easier the better. We try to make things easy on everybody, no matter what the situation, because it's a difficult. Number one, you've dealt with the loss of a loved one. Number two, you're dealing with trying to dispose of property, and three, it's like, okay, I can't even get my head on straight. I don't even know what I'm doing. So they need help with all that kind of stuff. And that's what we're here to do, is to handhold and help any way that we can. So, and the other thing I want people to understand, that realtors, just because you ask them a question, they shouldn't pounce on you and say, oh, can I help you with that? Let's just talk about listing your property. And no, if you want to ask me a question, you can ask me a question. You can ask me anything you want to ask me. I'm not like keeping score of how many times you've asked questions and sending you a bill. That's not how this works. The way I see my job is people don't buy and sell every single day unless you're an investor. And so people need their questions answered. They need somebody that they can trust. They need somebody that knows their stuff. They need somebody that they feel comfortable asking the question of. And I want to be that person. I want them to be able to ask me anything and not worry. I've had several people that have called and asked me a question. They're like, can I ask you something? I'm like, sure. Well, I've got this problem. And so they'll tell me whatever they need, and I'll give them the answer. And they're like, well, how much do I owe you? I'm like, you don't owe me anything. It's okay.
You mentioned about foreclosure. How can you help someone who goes into foreclosure to, I know once you go into foreclosure, it's going to go against their credit, but can you help that person come out a little bit ahead and have some money and not lose every dime they've got?
Typically with the foreclosure, they're going to take the house. If they take the house, typically they don't allow them to get any money. If it's a foreclosure sale, they're going to sell it. The bank's going to get all the money. Now, if there's more money than the bank is owed, then they may let them keep that, or some of that will go to the attorney's fees, because attorneys are not cheap, because the attorneys are the ones that will do the notice of foreclosure. They'll file it in the special proceedings. They'll do the courthouse steps, because you always have to do a notice of sale on the courthouse steps. And then if it's sold that way, there's a 10-day upset bid period. So the attorneys are constantly having to monitor all this stuff. So they're not cheap. So the bank's got to get enough money to pay for them to be satisfied that we've got enough money to cover this mortgage, or if they want to take a loss, and pay their attorney's fees. So usually in a foreclosure sale, nobody's getting any money. By the time it hits foreclosure, the trustee's already taken it over. You've got a trustee's deed in there, and so the person that owned it is no longer even in the picture.
What's the difference in foreclosure and pre-foreclosure?
Pre-foreclosure is they have filed the paperwork, that they've given you a notice of foreclosure that we're going to be foreclosing on your property, and you've got so many days to respond or whatever. So when they start the pre-foreclosure proceedings, you know it's coming. This is the thing people need to understand. When you get mail from your bank or from an attorney, open it. Don't just put your head in the sand. All you're going to do is get sand in your ears. So open your mail. Talk to the bank. The bank is usually really, really good about trying to help you. They can possibly do a loan modification. They may or may not be able to do that. Your credit score will dictate some of that. So when you get pre-foreclosure notices, that's when you need to call the bank and say, listen, can I try to sell the house on my own? And they'll usually work with you, because let's face it, a bank does not want to own property. They are not in the real estate business. So if they've got that on their books, it's more of a liability to them than anything. So they don't want to deal with it. So if you can talk to them and say, listen, can I try to sell it? They may say, yes, absolutely. They may even ask for you to get your realtor to call them, so that they can tell us, okay, we'll give you 3 months. You've got to get, $175,000 is what we need. And anything extra, great. So the pre-foreclosure, they haven't actually taken it to, you have, notice of foreclosure. It's just been a notice that they're going to file a foreclosure.
She tells you why you should not try to buy a house on your own. You need help. And the lady you need to call is Beth Helton at
704-853-9060.
Thank you, Beth.
You're welcome.
We all sometimes need a towing service. Bad weather, or you just get stuck on the side of the road with a flat tire, or even worse. Call on Tri-City Towing Services of Daryl Burnett. Towing services for big trucks as well as cars and SUVs. He has a rollback service to get you safely to a garage. With years of experience, you're in good hands with Tri-City Towing. Put this number in your phone, 828-305-7707. That's 305-7707. Have it handy when you need it. Remember the name, Tri-City Towing, 1101 West Main Street in Forest City.
If you need a legal consultation regarding wills, real estate, closings, Medicaid planning, or just legal representation, contact attorneys Gerald N. Willis, Kent Baldwin at the Arledge Law Firm on East Court Street in Rutherfordton. They offer years of experience and expertise. Arledge Law Firm is your local professional law firm that really cares about their clients, and it shows. Whatever the situation you're facing, call 828-287-3338. Let the professional team go to work for you.
Are you turning 65, or are you losing group health insurance? Give us a call at Insurance Service Associates. My name is Dwayne Hunt, and I represent all the coverages for Medicare Advantage, Medicare supplements, prescription drug plans, and major medical. Give us a call at 245-5301 and let us see what we can do for you. Or drop by the office at 245 East Main Street in Forest City. That's Insurance Service Associates.
We're all about saving every dime these days, aren't we? Stretching dollars is everything in today's households. Stop giving the big box stores all your hard-earned money. Stop at Jay's Discount Grocery on Oak Street in Forest City. Jay's has thousands of merchandise at incredible low prices. Fresh produce every week, your choice of top-quality meats, canned food, frozen favorites, ice cream, snack foods, cleaning products, dog food, and so much more. The big box stores only want your money. It's small-town folks like Rick that care about the little people, like you and me. Shop Jay's Discount Grocery Monday through Wednesday, 8 to 7, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, 8 till 8. EBT card and debit cards are welcome. That's Jay's Discount Grocery, 671 Oak Street, Forest City.
It's time for that Sheriff's Report recorded earlier for broadcast at this time. With the Sheriff's Report, here is Sergeant Brandel.
24 hours, the Rutherford County Sheriff's Office has answered 151 calls, processed 5 arrests, and currently have 186 incarcerated. We have no incident reports to report this morning. However, we have a few arrest reports. We have Samantha Nicole Hardy, 30-year-old white female of Forest City, charged with failure to appear on misdemeanor and assault and battery, given a $500 secure bond. We have Cody Allen Claiborne, 29-year-old white male, charged with communicating threats, given a written promise to appear. And we have Devon Terrell Tweedy, 24-year-old black male, Rutherford, charged with malicious conduct by prisoner, given a $10,000 secure bond, and that's all we have this morning.
Game will start at 7 o'clock. It'll be nationally televised on TBS. Other playoff games tonight: Boston against Florida, Dallas in Minnesota, Edmonton takes on LA. All of those series tied at 1 game apiece. Last night on the ice, the Maple Leafs dominated the Lightning 7-2 to tie up that series. The Rangers beat the Devils 5-1. Avalanche topped the Kraken 3-2, and the Golden Knights got a 5-2 win over the Jets. On the Diamond, minor league baseball scores from around the state last night. At the AAA level, the Durham Bulls and the Syracuse Mets split a doubleheader, while the Charlotte Knights lost to the Louisville Bats 6-2. In single A ball, Greensboro destroyed Greenville 16-6. It was Asheville 5, Winston-Salem 4. Hickory got a 5-1 win over Bowling Green. The Carolina Mudcats beat the Down East Wood Ducks 8-3. The Kannapolis Cannonballers lost to the Charleston River Dogs 8-5, and the Fayetteville Woodpeckers fell to the Columbia Fireflies 4-3. In the majors, later tonight, the Atlanta Braves will host the Houston Astros. The Baltimore Orioles are at home against the Detroit Tigers, and the Washington Nationals are up in Minnesota to take on the Twins. You're listening to NCN Sports.
If you pay your city or town for electricity, you live in a public power community. Public power communities provide electricity to families and businesses from a locally owned and operated system. Public Power Systems are not for profit and provide electricity at affordable rates with unbeaten reliability. Your local public power provider invests in your community, providing local jobs and supporting your local economy. Electricities of North Carolina is the energy behind public power. Learn more at electricities.com.
April is Fair Housing Month, and North Carolina's 56,000 realtors proudly honor our commitment to ensure everyone gets a fair chance in today's housing market. From the country crossroads to urban centers, realtors across North Carolina are working to open doors to anyone who is striving to attain the American dream of owning their own home. We believe fairness is worth fighting for because that's who we are. Paid for by North Carolina Realtors.
In the NBA playoffs last night, the 76ers beat the Nets 102-97. The Warriors avoided a 3-0 deficit in their series with the Kings, winning 114-97. And the Suns got past the Clippers 129-124. Looks like Major League Baseball will have a team in Las Vegas.
The Oakland A's have been trying for years without success to get a new stadium in the Bay Area. Now it appears they are moving to Las Vegas. There is anger in Oakland.
It has become clear that we are not able to reach an acceptable terms.
Oakland Mayor Shang Tao.
This announcement happened mid-negotiations, and it shows that they had no interest in reaching a deal with Oakland at all.
The target date for the new stadium in Las Vegas is 2027. Steve Futterman, CBS News.
And I'm Rod Connett, NCN Sports.
Lou Gillum in the Blue Room. Your forecast for today is going to be partly cloudy. Highs around 80 degrees. Partly cloudy tonight. Maybe a chance of some rain. Lows around 55. For tomorrow, cloudy, showers, isolated thunderstorms. Highs around 75 degrees. Partly cloudy overnight. Showers, maybe thunderstorms. Lows around 45. Sunny for Sunday. Highs around 65. Clear overnight. Lows around 40. And for Monday, sunshine. Highs around 65 degrees. That's your forecast from 100.9 FM, 590 AM, WCAB, Rutherfordton.
29 minutes past 8 o'clock, 55 degrees. It's time now for the Word of Faith program. With the program this morning is Davi and Olivia Matos.
Hi, everyone. Welcome again to the Word of Faith Fellowship radio program. This is Davi. I'm here with my wife, Olivia. Today, we're going to share with you the wonderful things God has done in our lives. We have learned that God has a wonderful plan for your life, and you can live in His love every day, walking in His peace, free from strife. You don't have to have strife in your relationship. And we both have learned a lot of things growing up with our family, our parents, our pastors, and friends at our church. And give you a little background, we both grew up in a Christian home, always went to church, always read our Bible and prayed. And we have learned a lot growing up. And Psalms 139:16 says, "Your eyes saw my unformed substance, and in your book all the days of my life were written before ever they took shape, when as yet there was none of them." So did you know God has a book for you? In that book, everything is written about your life. Everything from before you were ever born, God had already planned your life for you. You don't have to worry about anything. What you're going to do when you grow up, who you're going to marry, what you're going to have, what job you're going to have. God's got a hold of everything. You don't have to worry. And in my life, I always grew up knowing that God was going to be faithful to me. I didn't have to worry about anything. I knew that what God had put in my heart, and He would speak to me step by step. And all I needed to do is trust Him and believe Him, and He was going to have a hold of my life. And one thing that I always had a certain fear about was who I was going to marry, because I knew God was going to put in my heart the right person, but I always was concerned because I always took marriage very serious. I know the person that I marry was going to be the one I'd be married for the rest of my life. So therefore, I always wanted to make sure I made the right decision, and I knew I was marrying the right person. But I had this thinking that it was going to be the perfect person. I was just going to run into somebody that was perfect, but it's not quite like that, because nobody's perfect. And we all have to learn things through our life. And as we walk our relationship together, you're going to walk through struggles and many things. But what we have learned is, one day I was talking to one of the ministers at our church. This was right before we got married, which we married a couple years ago. And he told me, you don't have to worry about anything. All you do is walk in love, the love of God. You put each other first, and everything else is going to fall in its place. And in John 15:13, it says, no one has greater love, no one has shown stronger affection than to lay down and give up his own life for his friends. And this is what we have put into practice from day one, from the day we got married on, and even before, as we walked in a relationship. This is what God has for us. You lay your life down for each other, just like Christ has laid his life down for the church. He died on the cross so we can be saved, and that's what we're to do. Put each other first and give up of your own interests, give up of what you think you know, and just go to God. And God, what is your will for our lives? Show us how to walk together, and he will bring everything to pass in your life, and he will help you to walk in the love of God, free from strife, and never having to be in anger and mad and upset with your mate.
And one scripture that God has really put in our hearts is 1 Corinthians 13, verse 5. It says, the love of God is not conceited, arrogant, and inflated with pride. It is not rude, unmannerly, and does not act unbecomingly. Love, God's love in us, does not insist on its own rights or its own way, for it is not self-seeking, it is not touchy or fretful or resentful. It takes no account of the evil done to it, it pays no attention to a suffered wrong. And right there it tells us what the love of God is. It's not self-seeking, you're not thinking about yourself, it's not touchy, it pays no attention to a suffered wrong. And that is a big thing where God has dealt with us in our lives. We don't want to pay attention to anything that someone has done wrong to us. We want to have the love of God in our hearts, and if someone does something wrong, we want to help them out of the love of God and show them the right way. And in Colossians chapter 3, starting in verse 12, it says, so as God's own chosen people who are holy, set apart, sanctified for his purpose, and well beloved by God himself, put on a heart of compassion, kindness, humility, gentleness, and patience, which has the power to endure whatever injustice or unpleasantness comes with good temper. It says to have a heart of compassion, kindness, humility, gentleness, and patience. If we have those characteristics in our heart, it doesn't matter what comes at us. We will have a good temper, a good attitude. The love of God will be in our hearts, bearing graciously with one another and willingly forgiving each other if one has a cause for complaint against another. Just as the Lord has forgiven you, so should you forgive. Beyond all these things, put on and wrap yourselves in unselfish love, which is the perfect bond of unity, for everything is bound together in agreement when each one seeks the best for others. And that's what the perfect bond of unity, that's what's going to bring us together in harmony. The compassion, kindness, humility, and gentleness. And we're going to be in agreement and seek the best for others when we have that in our hearts. Being patient with each other, kind, and humility. That is a big key to walking together in the love of God, is humility. You have to be humble, being able to receive. You can't think you're right. You have to be humble to receive from Jesus and receive from those around you. Receive from your husband, your wife, your friends, your family. Being humble and not thinking you know, and letting God teach you and others teach you the right way.
In Ephesians 10, it says, living as becomes you with complete lowliness of mind, humility and meekness, unselfishness, gentleness, mildness, with patience, bearing with one another, and making allowances because you love one another. And like Olivia says, one of the biggest keys for you to have a successful relationship is walking in the love of God. But for you to walk in the love of God, you gotta be humble. Because when you're humble, you're ready to give up of your own interest. It doesn't matter what somebody does to you or what you think it's right. You're just willing to do anything you can to promote peace in your family. And when it talks about making allowances, I mean, you can have many examples here. Olivia can share some with you.
One example I was thinking of was, maybe your spouse comes home and forgets to swap the laundry or leave something out of place. Do you get mad and upset and angry because they didn't do it right? Or do you go to them and find out what happened and teach them in the love of God, the better way? And sometimes with making allowances because you love one another, maybe they were feeling sick, or maybe they just forgot, or maybe they got a call as soon as they got home and had to go and take care of that.
And another example too, a lot of times, I know this comes up a lot between married couples. A lot of times they both have different opinions, and maybe today I want to stay home and go work in the yard. My wife maybe wants to go out shopping, or even your children may want to do something else. What are you gonna do when those things happens? Are you gonna get upset and mad and tell them, no, it's gonna be this way and this is what you're gonna do because it's what I want to do? Or you gonna go to God and say, God, what is your will for our lives? Are you gonna lead your family into God and cry out to God, what is your will for us today? And hear the voice of God. And another thing is, you can't ask God and inquire of Him what is His will for your life. Just, come to God and say, hey God, what is your will for me today? But you already have your mind made up on what you want to do. And in the back of your head, you already know. You think you already know what's right. It doesn't work like that. You have to choose to know nothing. Just like in John 5:30 it says, Jesus walked on this earth and He said, I know nothing apart from God. And He chose to do nothing unless He inquired of God, and God gave Him the orders on what to do. And that's how we should live. And that's what will bring peace to your family when you go to God and everyone chooses to know nothing. All you want to do is the will of God, and you go to God and you inquire of Him, and He will bring everything to pass. Everything is going to fall in its place. And in James 3:17, it talks about wisdom, because this is what we gotta have to do. You have to have the wisdom of God when you come up against problems and situations and things come up in your family. And it says, but the wisdom from above is first of all pure, undefiled, then it's peaceful, loving, courteous, considerate, gentle. It is willing to yield to reason. So here, look at all these characteristics. It's peaceful and loving. Do you always talk to your mate and your family members in peace? Always considering them in everything you do. You consider others. You always think about what the other one wants to do. Are you always gentle, and are you always willing to listen to them when they are saying something you may not think they have the right in everything they're saying, but do you just listen to them and want to hear what they have to say so you can ask God how to show them the right way? Or do you just jump and say something harsh and attack them with your words? And it is willing to yield to reason, full of compassion and good fruits. And when you walk in this peace and considering each other, being gentle with each other, and full of compassion, there will always be good fruits. It always has good fruits. It is wholehearted and straightforward, impartial, unfeigned, free from doubts, wavering, and insincerity. And the harvest of righteousness, of conformity to God's will in thought and deed, is the fruit of the seed sown in peace by those who work for and make peace in themselves and in others. The peace, which means concord, agreement, and harmony between individuals with undisturbedness and peaceful mind, free from fears and agitating passions and moral conflicts. And this is how we're supposed to live, in the peace of God. And it is possible, the same way God has been doing this for us and teaching us, you can do it. I mean, you can be full of strife and having major problems in your relationship today. But if you turn to God and you choose not to know anything, and you choose to let God be in control of your life and give up your own interest, it's going to work. And one other thing, we hear this a lot, and I'm sure you have heard this verse being preached in many weddings, in Ephesians 5:23, that says, "For the husband is the head of the wife, as Christ is the head of the church, himself being the Savior of the body. But as the church is subject to Christ, so also wives should be subject to their husbands in everything, respecting both their position as protector and their responsibility to God as a head of the house." And our pastor preached this in our wedding, and the verse that comes after this is a key to your marriage. It says, "Husbands, love your wives, seek the highest good for her, and surround her with a caring, unselfish love, just as Christ also loved the church and gave himself up for her." And this is the main key here, because a lot of people think, okay, the husband is the head, and you're gonna do what I say, and it's gonna be my way, and everybody's gonna obey me, and I'm the authority in the house. But it doesn't work like that. Look at what it says on verse 25. We're supposed to do just like Christ loved the church and gave himself up for her. So the key here is, us husbands are supposed to lay our lives down for our spouse, give up ourselves, and you're supposed to do everything you can to make sure they have the best and they are walking with God. And just like it says on verse 26, "So that he might sanctify the church, having cleansed her by the washing of the water with the word of God, so that in turn he might present the church to himself in glorious splendor, without spot, wrinkle, or any such thing, but that he should be holy, set apart for God, and blameless." And that's what God wants us to do. We as husbands are supposed to make sure our family walks with God. We bring them into Jesus. And if your family is a mess, your wife is full of anger, strife, and sin, and your children, it's our fault. It's us as husbands, it's our responsibility to make sure we pay the price to go to God and find out what his will is for us and hear his voice, to teach our family and to inquire of him in every situation. How are we supposed to bring them to Jesus, and not think that we are the one in charge and tell them what it's going to be. It's God the one in charge, and we hear from him, and he teaches us, and we teach our family. And we can give you several examples in our life, but in our relationship, I remember one time God put in my heart to buy Olivia a new car, and we were going to sell the car she had, and God spoke to us to sell her car. We got a really good offer, and we went ahead and sold it right then. But later, we didn't have a car yet for her. We were still looking and trying to see what was the right car. But right after that, she had to go to work and do different things, and she started getting really concerned. What am I going to do now? I don't have a car. How am I going to get around? And she wasn't too happy at first, and I told her, instead of me, I didn't go to her and say, well, that's your fault. You're the one that made the choice to sell your car, so now you're without. So you solve your problem. I didn't do that. I said, God, how do I show your love to my wife and bring her into the knowledge of Jesus, to trust him with her life, that everything is going to work out? And God spoke to me, let her use your car and you ride with your brother to go to work. And I told her, Olivia, God spoke to us to sell the car. He made a way. He brought someone that gave us a really good offer, and everything worked out, and we're going to stand on that. We're not going to let our minds go out and start thinking all these things, because you have to understand, the devil is always going to bring something your way. regardless of what it is. Everything you do, he's going to put something to bring a place of strife and work separation in your relationship. So you got to learn how to discern when the devil is speaking something to you, so you can shut your mind against all those thoughts and put your mind, set your mind on the things above, which is the things that God had spoke to you. And when you put your mind on that, you can have faith, and you don't know how, but you know that God is going to work it out. And after that, we started looking for a car, and God spoke to me the car that she was supposed to get. But she was thinking about all these other cars. She didn't know. And when I mentioned to her the first time, she thought, oh no, honey, I don't think that's the car. I really want this car. And right there, I could have gone and said, well, I'm the one buying you the car, so you're going to have the car that I want, and it's going to be this car, and this is the best, and that's what's going to be. I didn't do that. That would have brought strife and separation in our relationship. I went to God and I said, God, what is the car that you have for us? And I told her, Olivia, we're going to pray and we're going to hear from God, and he's going to speak to us the right car, because he has the best for you. And the same way I want the best for you, and God is going to take care of you the same way he has taken care of us up to this day. And a few days went by, and then I showed her a picture of the car that I had in mind, and she said, well, honey, I like that car. Yep, that's fine. If that's what you're wanting to get, that's great. And we didn't say anything else. A couple days went by, and then she calls me one day and says, honey, I think I found my car. And she found that same car somewhere for a really good price. And I told her, great, honey, let's get that car. And we had to drive about 4 hours to go get it. So we get after work. Before that, I tell her, call the bank and get this check for this amount, and we're gonna go get the car today. So we were gonna drive that night, spend the night, and get the car the next morning. But it was a Friday. I talked to the salesman, and he told me, okay, the manager already said he's not budging on the price, and we already got another couple coming to see this car today, and they really want to buy it. And he went on about it, and I said, sir, I'm only paying this much, and that's how much I'm gonna pay. If you want to sell it to me, I will come and get it. If not, I'm not buying. So he said, I already talked to the manager. There's no change. I said, sir, you got my number. This is the price. If you want to sell it, you call me back. If not, I'm not buying it. But I knew God told me we were buying that car. I didn't know how it was going to work out. But we got in the car and we were on the way there. And Olivia asked me, honey, did you call that guy and tell him to save the car for us? And I said, well, at this point, we're not getting it till he calls me back and tells me he's going to do for this price. So then she was really concerned. She's like, but honey, God spoke to me. This is my car. I mean, it's fine. Let's just pay the extra. I really feel like God said this is my car. Let's just do this. I said, Olivia, what did God said? This is your car. And if it's your car, he's going to save it for you. Nothing's going to happen. We're going to get there and the car's going to still be there. And I told her, don't let your mind think about what the devil is putting before you. Just trust God. And she got the peace of God, which later on she thought again, let's call that guy. It's getting late in the evening. I said, no, just wait. But at the whole time, I had peace. And because I had peace in my heart and I went to God, I could have the love of God to her. And I could go to her and be sweet and just teach her how to trust God. I didn't go to her out of my natural knowledge saying, listen, I've done so many deals and I know how it works. I didn't say that. I said, Olivia, God has a hold of your life. He will take care of you. And he will get this car for you at the right price. And sure enough, a few hours later, the phone rings and the guy tells me, hey, here, the manager said you can get this car and we're going to do that price. And I said, but hold on a minute, sir. I need a full tank of gas and all the mats and a detail washed inside and out. And said, sure, we'll get that done for you. And then we hung up that phone call and I turned to Olivia and I said, Olivia, see, we could have had a whole history of strife in this situation. And we could have been in separation. You would have had a car that you didn't want, and I wouldn't be happy with you. You would not have been happy with me. But because we went to Jesus, and we always set our hearts in the Word of God, everything came together, and we not only got the best, but we learned a lot through it. We learned that we can trust God with our lives, and He will take care regardless of what it looks like in the natural. We don't have to know everything that's going to happen, because God is the one that knows. All you need to do is submit your heart to Him and hear His voice, and everything is going to fall in place. And another verse to conclude here is Hebrews 10:24, that says, "Let us consider and give attentive and continuous care to watching over one another, studying how we may stir up, stimulate an insight to love and helpful deeds and noble activities." And this is a key verse for you to have your successful relationship again. You study every day, how can I be a blessing to my spouse or to my family? What can I do that will stimulate and stir up the love of God? I mean, when you come home from work, do you just come home from work worn out from what you had to do all day, and you're upset and you're just in a bad mode that night, and you're just go to your room, lay down, and you don't do anything, leave it all up for your wife to do? Or you do come home happy and you show the love of God for your family, and you ask Jesus to show you, what can I do to be a blessing to my wife? What can I do to help those around me? Or you just live your whole day thinking about yourself? If you think about yourself, you're selfish, and you're never going to be able to help others. And when something comes up, the first thing that you're going to do is get mad and angry, because you're only thinking about yourself. You're not thinking about others. So this is what you need to keep in your heart. Let this verse ring in your heart. Let us consider and give us attentive and continuous care, watching over one another, studying how we may stir up, stimulate an insight to love and helpful deeds and noble activities.
And one last verse in Ephesians 3, starting in 16. May He grant you out of the riches of His glory to be strengthened and spiritually energized with power through His Spirit in your inner self, indwelling your inmost being and personality, so that Christ may dwell in your hearts through your faith. If we have faith in God, Jesus will dwell in our hearts. And may you have been deeply rooted and securely grounded in love, be fully capable of comprehending with all the saints, God's people, the width and length and height and depth of His love, fully experiencing that amazing, endless love. The love of God is endless, and it is amazing. When you walk in the love of God, He will lead you, and that you may come to know practically through experience the love of Christ, which far surpasses mere knowledge without experience, that you may be filled throughout your being to all the fullness of God, so that you may have the richest experience of God's presence in your lives, completely filled and flooded with God Himself. And that's what we want in our lives, to be filled throughout your being to the fullness of God. And when you serve God and you lay down your life for others, and you have God's love in your heart, your life will be completely filled and flooded with God Himself. Now to Him who is able to carry out His purpose and do super abundantly more than all that we dare ask or think, infinitely beyond our greatest prayers, hopes, or dreams, according to His power that is at work within us. To Him be the glory in the church and in Christ Jesus through all generations, forever and ever. Amen. And that's what God will do for us. It says that He will do superly abundantly more than all we dare ask or think. And when we walk in God's love and show His love to others and walk that way in our lives every day, God will be there for whatever we need, whatever need we have. And that's what we have learned, is when we lay down our lives for each other, for those around us, God always is right there for us. And we have learned to go to God and cry out to Him for whatever we need, and He is always right there. And now we want to sing a song for you. We are called to walk together. We will be true friends to each other.
We are called to
And just like that song said, and what the last verse Olivia said, we want our lives to be flooded with the love of God. And it's possible. The same way God is doing this for us, He can do it for you. All you need to do is turn to Jesus, cry out to Him, and He will have everything for you. And He will show you everything. You don't have to worry, and just go to Him, and He will make your situation better regardless of what you're going through today. If you're in a really bad situation, God can turn that around. He already has a way out planned for you. All you need to do is go to Him. And thank you for joining us today. And don't forget to tune in to our upcoming programs every Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays at 8:30 in the morning. And please check our website, www.wordoffaithfellowship.org, and see all our other programs we have there.
We love you and have a great day.
When my business got bigger, many things changed. My lunches got shorter, more meetings arranged. My budget got bigger, but all that it meant was I cared even more about how it was spent. When I spend it on radio, I see where it goes. My investment comes back and my business just grows. Radio helps all businesses to grow. Find out how at radioheardhere.com.
Brought to you by this radio station to remind you that radio is heard here. Radio is heard everywhere.
Where our listeners patronize our advertisers, call our sales department today at 287-3356. Get your message to the thousands. Call the WCAB sales department today at 287-3356.
About the path forward. Now, the president has long said he intends to run, but his team has felt little urgency to announce he is not expected to face any serious opposition for the Democratic nomination, despite polling that shows that many Democratic voters would prefer an alternative candidate.
ABC's Mary Bruce. Pressure on the Supreme Court to decide what it'll do with challenges to the abortion pill mifepristone. There's a midnight deadline tonight over a stay on the drug that's keeping it available for now. The nation's debt ceiling already breached and still no compromise among lawmakers. House Speaker Kevin McCarthy unveiling a proposal that would raise the limit while making drastic cuts in spending, including COVID-19 funds, student loan forgiveness, and more.
Not only would the Speaker's proposal cut funding for our veterans, it would repeal the Inflation Reduction Act's investment in manufacturing in clean energy. Investments that have created 100,000 manufacturing jobs, many of them in Republican-led states and congressional districts.
White House Press Secretary Karine Jean-Pierre. Speaker McCarthy says his plan would lower government spending by $4.5 trillion over the next 10 years. Charges dropped against actor Alec Baldwin in the Rust movie set shooting that killed cinematographer Helena Hutchins. He faced involuntary manslaughter, accused of shooting the prop gun that killed Hutchins. In December 2021, Baldwin told ABC's George Stephanopoulos he never pulled the trigger, suggesting the gun went off on its own.
No one really believed that, right? How could you have a gun that fires without you pulling the trigger? And now it seems that maybe there was an explanation. Maybe he was exactly right.
ABC's chief legal analyst, Dan Abrams. You're listening to ABC News.
Paid for by government.com. Did you hear? A recent stash of $20 gold Liberty coins from the 1800s has been found. These gorgeous gold coins are as bright and shiny as the day they were struck in the late 1800s, and less than 50 of these gold coins are available. Coin experts are calling this gold find an incredible opportunity. Call 1-800-935-7267 and you are guaranteed a $20 gold Liberty coin minted by the U.S. Mint in the 1800s. But with extremely limited availability, you must call now. These gold Liberty coins from the 1800s are still in uncirculated condition. That is history you can hold in your hand. To learn more, call 1-800-935-7267. Call now and you'll receive a free American Coin Collector's Bonus Package, a $75 value free with every order. Call 1-800-935-7267 now to secure your $20 gold Liberty coins dated from the 1800s before they sell out. That's 1-800-935-7267.
An admitted Capitol rioter from Texas now facing more serious charges.
In selfies he took on January 6th, Nathan Pelham is seen outside the U.S. Capitol in a ball cap, goggles, and a facial covering. Police say he did not go into the building, but they charged him with 4 misdemeanors. Earlier this month, Pelham agreed to surrender and be charged, but when sheriff's deputies went to his Greenville, Texas home on a welfare call, they say he opened fire on them. Now, along with the 4 misdemeanors, Nate Pelham is looking at charges of being a felon in possession of a firearm with a potential 10-year prison term. Jim Ryan, ABC News, Dallas.
In Canada, police are investigating a multi-million-dollar theft at Toronto International Airport. An air cargo container vanishing Monday after it was unloaded from a plane and moved into a secure holding facility. Pierre Regional Police Inspector Stephen Duvestine.
It did contain gold, but was not exclusive to gold and contained other items of monetary value.
Officials say the items stolen are worth about $15 million. A beer bust of sorts. More than 2,000 cans of Miller High Life crushed by customs officials in Belgium this week. For about a century, Miller has been advertised as the champagne of beers, leaving producers of real champagne in France outraged. Their trade group getting Belgium to destroy the beer, claiming the motto infringes on the protected designation of the origin of champagne. This is ABC News.
As a roofer, I'm always on the go, so I need to be able to get things done from anywhere. That's why I partner with Beacon. With the new Beacon Pro Plus app, I've got the brands I depend on, like GAF, right at my fingertips. It's like having my Beacon rep in my pocket 24/7. I rely on Beacon because I never stop building, and neither do they. Now through June, purchase through Beacon Pro Plus and earn up to $1,500. Beacon, always building.
I'm Derek Dennis, ABC News.
Listening to the radio, driving in your car. Radio gets results. Radio is there no matter where you are. Radio gets results. When you need to get your message through, people really do listen to you. Coming through loud and clear, no matter what you're telling, no matter what you're selling, everyone will hear. Radio gets results. Radio gets results. Radio gets results. Radio gets results.
We are 100.9 FM, 590 AM, WCAB, Rutherfordton.
From ABC Sports, this is Rich Cantu. First round NBA playoff action. Clippers hosting the Suns after stealing one in Phoenix. The Suns looking to repay the favor with Paul George and Kawhi Leonard out of the lineup.
Fades in the lane and gets another runner to go. Devin Booker with a 40-burger tonight.
The call on 98.7 Arizona Sports. 45 points from Booker. The Suns reclaim home court advantage, 129-124. The Sixers threatening to make quick work of the Nets thanks to Tyrese Maxey.
Step back, pulls out a three, and nets another one.
The call on ESPN. Maxey led Philly with 25. James Harden had 21 before a flagrant 2 automatic ejection in the third. 102-97 Sixers the final for a 3-0 series lead. Down 2-0, the Warriors rebounded at home, fueled by Steph Curry.
Takes a three, it's up and good. Stephen Curry.
The call on 95.7 The Game. Warriors win 114-97. This is ABC Sports. Stanley Cup. The Avalanche were down 2-0 early against the Kraken, but fought back to pull out the win.
Turning, firing, save made. Rebound is there for Taves. He scores!
Altitude Sports Radio on the call. The Avs tie the series at a game apiece, 3-2 the final. The Rangers took a commanding 2-0 series lead over the Devils, winning a second straight in Newark. Patrick Kane with the dagger.
Here comes Patrick Kane. Kane near circle on his backhand. He scores! Patrick Kane roofs it on the backhand.
Our thanks to 98.7 ESPN New York. Kane also assisted on 2 Rangers tallies. The Rangers down the Devils 5-1. The Golden Knights dominated the Jets in Game 2 to tie that series at 1. Mark Stone led the way for the Knights with 2 goals, 5-2 the final. The Maple Leafs hammered the Lightning 7-2 to get back into their series thanks to a hat trick from John Tavares.
Tavares allowed to come right out in front, and that is stopped. The rebound
The call on TSN 1050, 7-2 the final in Toronto. Baseball, the Yankees hosting the Angels.
It'll be a 1-1. Line, base hit, over third, down the left field line, rolling to the left field corner, extra bases. 1 run scores Rizzo. They'll hold Glaber at third on the double by DJ.
John Sterling, WFAN with the call. Yanks clobber the Halos 9-3. This is Rich Cantu, ABC Sports.
Does that old tractor or lawnmower have more electrical tape or duct tape holding it together than you want to admit? Well, maybe it's time to see Phil Sheehan and his staff at NC Tractor for a new Massey Ferguson tractor or mower. Massey Ferguson is a company that's been around for over 175 years. That says a lot about a company. And paired with Phil Sheehan, who's been in business for over 25 years, that says a lot about Phil and his staff. Knowledgeable about their product, and they stand behind every sale. Massey Ferguson is the last tractor you'll ever need. NC Tractor, a dependable and reliable company that'll be there after the sale. NC Tractor on Railroad Avenue in Rutherford. Lou Gillum in the Blue Room, your forecast for today. It's going to be partly cloudy. Highs around 80 degrees, partly cloudy tonight. Maybe a chance of some rain, with lows around 55. For tomorrow, cloudy, showers, isolated thunderstorms, highs around 75 degrees. Partly cloudy overnight, showers, maybe thunderstorms, lows around 45. Sunny for Sunday, highs around 65. Clear overnight, lows around 40. And for Monday, sunshine, highs around 65 degrees. That's your forecast from 100.9 FM, 590 AM, WCAB, Rutherford.
The music's on us on Friday on WCAB. Drank till my eyes were red, hit Playboy neath my bed, slicked my DA for the dance. When you dance. Back when my hair was short, I met some friends in court for stealing hubcaps from cars, chain smoking under the stars, played all night dreamed about love. We were experts on love. We talked our way all around it. And even if we had found it, we couldn't respond. Slowly I changed my ways, college and long hair days, seeing 3 concerts a week. An honest to God hippie freak. Except about love, we held rallies for love, but no one knew what they stood for. How many months were they good for? The meaning is gone. Soon when my hair is short, I'll make a full report of how I came back alive, and what it takes to survive. Bringing the truth out of jive, I'll tell you of love, more than ever it's love. No lack of faith undermines it, 'cause it's the hope that we'll find it that makes us go on. Back when my hair was short, I was a White Sox sport, only beer parties till 3. I can see clearly now, the rain is gone. I can see all obstacles in my way. Gone are the dark clouds that had me blind. It's gonna be a bright, sunshiny day. It's gonna be a bright, sunshiny day. when we really had it all. You were always there to make me smile, help me when I fall. Ooh, I can't believe you're leaving me when there's so much more to say. I can't let you go. Ooh, every time I look at you, I still can feel the glow. Let it be, let it grow. Ooh, On the road of experience and trying to find my own way. Sometimes I wish that I could fly away. When I think that I'm moving, suddenly things stand still. I'm afraid 'cause I think they always will. And I'm looking for space and to find out who I am. And I'm looking to know and understand. It's a sweet, sweet dream. Sometimes I'm almost there. Sometimes I fly like an eagle. Sometimes I'm deep in despair. All alone in the universe. Sometimes that's how it seems. I get lost in the sadness and the screams, and I look in the center. Suddenly everything's clear. I find myself in the sunshine and my dreams, and I'm looking for space and to find out who I am. And I'm looking to know and understand. It's a sweet, sweet dream. Sometimes I'm almost there. Sometimes I fly like an eagle. And sometimes I'm deep in despair. On the road of experience, joining the living day. If there's an answer, it's just that way. When you're looking for space and to find out who you are. When you're looking to try and reach the stars. It's a sweet, sweet, sweet dream. Sometimes I'm almost there. Sometimes I fly like an eagle. And sometimes I'm deep in despair. Sometimes I fly like an eagle. And like an eagle, I go flying high. I've been really trying, baby, trying to hold back this feeling for so long. And if you feel like I feel, baby, then come on. Oh, come on. Woo. Let's get it on. Ah, baby. Let's get it on. Let's love, baby. Let's get it on. Sugar, let's get it on. Woo. We're all sensitive people with so much to give. Understand me, sugar. Since we got to be here, let's live. I love you. There's
Robbins Painting Carpet has become the friend of folks who do their own work around the house and friends of the professional. Robbins Painting Carpet is the home of Benjamin Moore premium quality paint. It goes on easy the first time, every time. So save yourself some time with Benjamin Moore. Robbins provides expert help and advice to make every project a success. Call on the team at Robbins Painting Carpet and Floor Covering, 245-8801. Hours are Monday through Friday, 7:30 to 5:30. They're located at 206 Commercial Drive in Forest City. Lou Gillum in the Blue Room, your forecast for today. It's going to be partly cloudy. Highs around 80 degrees, partly cloudy tonight. Maybe chances of some rain, lows around 55. For tomorrow, cloudy, showers, isolated thunderstorms, highs around 75 degrees. Partly cloudy overnight, showers, maybe thunderstorms, lows around 45. Sunny for Sunday, highs around 65. Clear overnight, lows around 40. And for Monday, sunshine, highs around 65 degrees. That's your forecast from 100.9 FM, 590 AM, WCAB, Rutherfordton.
I knew a man, Bojangles, and he danced for you in worn-out shoes, silver hair and ragged shirt and baggy pants, the old soft shoe. He jumped so high, and then he lightly touched down. Met him in a cell in New Orleans. I was down and out. It looked to me to be the eyes of age as the smoke ran out. He talked of life, Laugh clicked his heels and stared. He said his name, Bojangles, and he danced a lick across the cell. He grabbed his pants and feathered stance, whoa, he jumped so high. And then he clicked his heels. He let go a laugh, he let go a laugh. Shook back his clothes all around. Mr. Bojangles, Mr. Bojangles, Mr. Bojangles, dance. He danced for those at minstrel shows and county fairs throughout the South. He spoke through tears of 15 years how his dog and him traveled about. The dog up and died, he up and died. After 20 years he still grieves. He said I dance now at every chance in honky-tonk for drinks and tips, but most of the time I spend behind these county bars, 'cause I drinks a bit. He shook his head, and as he shook his head, I heard someone ask him, please, please, Mr. Bojangles, Mr. Bojangles, Mr. Bojangles, dance. There's talk on the street, it sounds so familiar. expectations. Everybody's watching you. People you meet, they all seem to know you. Even your old friends treat you like you're something new. Johnny come lately, the new kid in town. Everybody loves you, so don't let them down. You look in her eyes, the music begins to play. Hopeless romantics, here we go again. But after a while, you're looking the other way. It's those restless hearts that never mend. Johnny come lately, the new kid in town. Will she still love you when you're not There's so many things you should have told her, but night after night you're willing to hold her, just hold her, tears on your shoulder. There's talk on the street, it's there to remind you. Doesn't really matter which side you're on. You're walking away and they're talking behind you. They will never forget you till somebody new comes along. Where you've been lately, there's a new kid in town. Everybody loves him, don't they? And he's holding her, and you're still around. Oh my, there's a new kid in town. Just another new kid in Everybody's talking about the new kid in town. Everybody's walking like the new kid in town. There's a new kid in town. I don't wanna hear it. There's a new kid in town. I don't wanna hear it. There's a new kid in town. There's a new kid in town. There's a new kid in town. Everybody's talking. There's a new kid in town. People started walking. There's a new kid in town. There's a new kid in town. There's a new kid in town.
Into my room he creeps without making a sound. Into my dreams he peeps
brushes the curls from my eyes. She drops her robe on the floor, and she reaches for the light on the bureau, and the darkness is her pillow once more. How she makes me quiver, how she makes me smile. With all this love I have to give her, I guess I'm gonna stay with her a while.
How it makes me quiver, how it makes me smile. With all this love I have to give you, guess I'm gonna stay with you a while. How it makes me quiver, how it makes me smile. With all this love I have to give you, guess I'm gonna stay with you a while. Stay with you a while. I guess I'm gonna stay.
I've been cheated, been mistreated. When will I be loved? I've been pushed down, I've been pushed round. When will I be loved? When I find a new man that I want for mine, it always breaks my heart in two. It happens every time. I've been made blue, I've been lied to. When will I be loved? When I find a new man that I want for mine, it always breaks my heart in two. It happens every time. I've been cheated, been mistreated. When will I be loved? When will I be loved? Tell me, when will I be loved? WCAB.
I came upon a child of God. He was walking along the road. When I asked him, "Where are you going?" this he told me. something turning. Well, maybe it's the time of year, or maybe it's the time of man. And I don't know who I am, but life's for learning. We are stardust, we are golden, and we've got to get ourselves back to the By the time I got to Woodstock, they were 500,000 strong. Everywhere there were songs and celebration. And I dreamed I saw the bombers riding shotgun in the sky, turning into butterflies above our nation. We are stardust, we are golden, and we've got to get ourselves back to the garden. We are stardust, we are golden, and we've got to get ourselves back to the garden. We are stardust, we are golden, and we've got to get ourselves back to the garden. Even now, when there's someone else who cares, when there's someone home who's waiting just for me, even now I think about you as I'm climbing up the stairs, and I wonder what to do so she won't see that even now, when I know it wasn't right, and I found a better life than what we had, even now I wake up crying in the middle of the night, and I can't believe it still could hurt so bad. Even now, when I have come so far, I wonder where you are. I wonder why it's still so hard without you. Even now,
so much since you've been gone. Even now I still remember, and the feeling's still the same, and this pain inside of me goes on and on. Even now, when I've come so far, I wonder where you are. I wonder why it's still so hard without you. Even now, when I come shining through, I swear I think of you, and God, I wish you knew.
When you remember me, if you remember me, I hope you see it's not the way I want it to be, or I'd be with you now. But wherever you go, my love goes with you. Keep on smiling, keep on shining, even though you know you wanna cry. I tried to love you, but looking in my eyes, you saw promises and lies. Too many times when you remember me, if you remember me, I hope you see it's not the way I want it to be, or I'd be with you now. But wherever you go, my love goes with you. I'll be with you. Keep believing. Some things even time can't come between. And if you blame me, try and realize there were promises and lies. Too many times when you remember me, if you remember me, I hope you see it's not the way I want it to be, or I'd be with you now. But wherever you go, my love goes with you. My love goes with you.
what I'm gonna do without you. And I guess you must be wondering that same thing too. So we go on together, living a life. Because neither one of us wants to be the first to say goodbye. Every time I find the nerve, every time I find the nerve to say I'm leaving. Oh, memories, those old memories get in my way. Ooh. Lord knows it's only me. Oh, He knows it's only me that I'm deceiving. Ooh. When it comes to saying goodbye, that's a simple word that I just cannot say. There can be no way, there can be no way. This can have a happy ending. No, no. So we just go on hurting and pretending and convincing ourselves to give it just one more try. Because neither one of us wants to be the first to say it. Neither one of us wants to be the first to say it. Neither one of us wants to be the first to say farewell, my love, goodbye.
Get the first weather forecast at 6:05 here on 100.9 FM 590 AM WCAB Rutherfordton.
Dropping of charges against actor Alec Baldwin.
Baldwin was set to stand trial for the shooting of cinematographer Helena Hutchins on the set of Rust. But in a statement last night, prosecutors said new facts were discovered over the last few days, less than 2 weeks before the trial was set to begin. Prosecutors did not disclose the new evidence. But the Los Angeles Times reports prosecutors recently discovered the prop gun had been modified, increasing the odds that the gun might have misfired.
ABC's Rhiannon Alley. A midnight deadline tonight for the Supreme Court to decide what it'll do with challenges to the abortion pill mifepristone. Right now, there's a stay on the drug, keeping it available. More from ABC's Rachel Scott.
The justices do have several options that they could take. They could allow the restrictions to go into effect, even in states where abortion is legal. They could take up the case themselves, nearly 1 year after Roe versus Wade was overturned by the Supreme Court, or they could send it back down to the lower courts to be worked out. Now, the high court did give itself until midnight tonight to make a decision.
At issue is a lower court ruling that would only allow the pill to be approved up to 7 weeks of pregnancy instead of 10 before many women even know they're pregnant. The countdown is on for President Biden's 2024 re-election announcement. Sources tell ABC News it could happen as soon as Tuesday. Severe weather on the move, storms wreaking havoc overnight with at least one tornado ripping through Texas. And now the storm system is headed east.
We will see more isolated tornadoes, but damaging wind was one of the other huge threats. So The flipped planes. Yesterday morning, Kansas City, Missouri, that was their downtown airport. Several of them flipped over. They had 84-mile-per-hour winds in Cook County, Illinois, close to Chicago's O'Hare. So that cold front is capable of doing the same today from Nashville up to Louisville. Cincinnati might even get on the action down to Mississippi and parts of Louisiana.
ABC's Ginger Z. You're listening to ABC News.
Have you Googled yourself lately? Are there negative posts from an ex-employee or a former client? Maybe an outdated news article or sensitive personal information about your family? Search engines don't always get it right, but right or wrong, it's your reputation on the line. That's where Reputation Defender by Norton comes in. One of the most trusted names in online reputation repair, Reputation Defender has been fixing people's search results for over 15 years. Their cutting-edge approaches help you to wipe away unwanted information in your search results. They also promote the good stuff so that it rises to the top, helping you put your best foot forward. Your good name is too valuable to leave to the whims of a Google algorithm. Take control with Reputation Defender. You can start by getting your free reputation report card at reputationdefender.com or call 800-401-6681 to speak to an expert. That's 800-401-6681.
The U.S. has been setting a record pace for mass killings this year. Listen to this. 88 lives lost in 17 mass murders over the last 111 days. That's roughly one a week so far this year. The killers using firearms in each and every incident. Controversy in Montana. The Speaker of the state's House of Representatives won't let a transgender lawmaker speak on the chamber floor until she apologizes to her colleagues.
Montana Representative Zoe Zephyr, herself a transgender woman, silenced on the Montana House floor after telling lawmakers they would have blood on their hands if they supported a bill banning gender-affirming medical care for transgender youth. That comment leading Montana's House Speaker Matt Regier to refuse to acknowledge Zephyr on the floor. The Montana Freedom Caucus demanding her censure, but Zephyr says she will not apologize, saying of her opponents what they really want is silence as they take away the rights of trans and queer Montanans. Dave Packer, ABC News.
Twitter's legacy blue check marks mostly gone, says ABC's Mike Dubusky.
It's happening. Accounts across Twitter are logging in to find their blue check marks have disappeared. Engadget's Carissa Bell says the checks were originally intended to authenticate accounts.
The core thing that it did was that it kind of established identity. That person was who they said they were.
Blue checks aren't disappearing completely, though. Twitter Blue subscribers still get them for $8 a month.
This is ABC News.
I'm Howard Mackler, founder of Innovation Refunds. You've heard me talking about the payroll tax refund for months. If you own a business, even if you've asked your CPA about this, you owe it to yourself to take another look. We provide a licensed and insured tax attorney who evaluates your company at my expense to determine eligibility. Businesses of all types can qualify, so go to getrefunds.com to potentially get a payroll tax refund of up to $26,000 per employee. Download the Innovation Refunds app or go to getrefunds.com, getrefunds.com.
I'm Derek Dennis, ABC News.
Lou Gillum in the Blue Room. Your forecast for today. It's going to be partly cloudy. Highs around 80 degrees. Partly cloudy tonight. Maybe chances of some rain. Lows around 55. For tomorrow, cloudy, showers, isolated thunderstorms. Highs around 75 degrees. Partly cloudy overnight. Showers, maybe thunderstorms. Lows around 45. Sunny for Sunday. Highs around 65. Clear overnight. Lows around 40. And for Monday, sunshine. Highs around 65 degrees. That's your forecast from 100.9 FM, 590 AM, WCAB, Rutherfordton.
Love 'em and leave 'em, give them the air, hurt and deceive them, say you don't care, break their hearts and let them fall like rain on your back step, then call me up tomorrow, you know I'll still be there when the So if all your bridges go up in flames, and if all your lovers strike you to tame, or some sad song of love you hear can make you call my name, I will be there in a minute, and you know I'll feel the same when the moon disappears forever and the sun shines electric blue and the mountains and trees tumble into the sea to rest there for eternity. No matter what you do, I will still love you. So the weary traveler, tired of passing through, stops to get his bearings and stays on the way for you. When the moon disappears forever and the sun shines electric blue and the mountains and trees tumble into the sea to rest there for eternity. No matter what you do, I will still love you. I will still love you.
Oh, I can still remember when I bought my first guitar. Remember walking from the shop to put it proudly in my car. And my family listened 50 times to my two-song repertoire. I told my mom her only son was gonna be a star. Well, I bought all the Beatle records, sounded just like Paul. I bought all the old Chuck Berry's, 78s and all. And I sat by my record player playing every note they played. I watched them all on TV and copied every move they made. Oh, rock and roll, I gave you all the best years of my life. All the dreamy sunny Sundays, all the moonlit summer nights. I was so busy in the back room writing love songs to you, or you were changing your direction, and you never even knew that I was always just one step behind you. Well, 66 seemed like the year I was really going somewhere. I was living in San Francisco, wearing flowers in my hair, singing songs of kindness so the world would understand. The guys and me thought we were more than just another band. Oh, rock and roll, I gave you all the best years of my life. All the crazy, lazy young days, all the magic moonlit nights. I was so busy on the road, singing love songs to you, while you were changing your direction, and you never even knew that I was always just one step behind you. Well, 71, I was all alone when I met Sarah Jane. I was trying to go it solo with someone else's band, and she came up to me softly and she took me by the hand. She listened to my problems and she seemed to understand, and she followed me to London, to 100 hotel rooms, to 100 record companies who didn't like my tunes. She followed me back to Tennessee, where she finally made me see I'm just a plain old country boy, and that's all I'll ever be. Oh, rock and roll, I gave you all the best years of my life. All the dreamy sunny Sundays, all the moonlit summer nights. And though I never knew the magic of making it with you. I'm getting along with my country songs, doing what I was born to do when I was always just one step behind you. All rock and roll, I gave you all the best years of my life. All the dreamy sunny
All I wanted was a sweet distraction for an hour or two. Had no intention to do the things we've done. Funny how it always goes with love when you don't look, you find. But then we're two of a kind. We move as one. We're an all-time high. We'll change all that's gone before, doing so much more than falling in love. On an all-time high, we'll take on the world and win. So hold on tight, let the flight begin. I don't want to waste a waking moment, I don't want to sleep. I'm in so strong and so deep, and so are you. In my time I've said these words before, but now I realize my heart was telling me lies. For you they're true. We're an all-time high. We'll change all that's gone before, doing so much more than falling in love. On an all-time high, we'll take on the world and win. So hold on tight, let the flight begin. So hold on tight, let the flight begin. We're an all-time
WCAB Rutherford.
Get aboard the Silverbird, departing gate 19. Satisfy your ultimate mind, trying out a dream. Your sign is Capricorn, and every corner of your life says you'll remain my friend until you're mine. Silverbird, fly my lady away. Silverbird, take her over the bay. Silverbird, give my lady a ride, and let her see what's on the other side. Silverbird, fly my lady away. Pretty bird, today is a day. Lone rangers and strangers will knock at her door, but I know my baby's no baby no more. Silverbird, fly my lady away. Pretty bird, today is a day. crazy heart will greet those silver wings. Your pet dog will remember you, and I'll carry your things. We'll catch your running makeup, and you will look just fine. And you remain my friend until you're mine. Silver bird, fly my lady away. Silver bird, take her all the way. Silver bird, give my lady a ride, and let her go see what's on the other side. Silver bird, fly my lady away. Silver bird, today is a day. Silver bird, give my lady a ride, and let her go see what's on the other side. Got no time to stop and speak to friends passing by. Got no strength to wipe away the tears from my eye. I don't care what's going on, only know she's gone and the sun don't shine anymore. And I don't feel fine anymore, 'cause she ain't mine anymore. No, I don't feel fine anymore. I ain't got time anymore. Seems to be such sadness now in each place I go. Other people laughing, still I just wouldn't know. Never stop to see who's there. Once I used to care, but the sun don't shine anymore, 'cause she ain't mine anymore. And I don't feel fine anymore. No, I ain't got time anymore. I ain't got time anymore. I can't get used to being left on my own. It takes up all my time just trying to be alone. Used to take an interest in the state of the world. Now I only know how much I'm missing that girl. Hope the world will understand. I can't lend a hand 'cause she ain't mine anymore. And I don't feel fine anymore, 'cause she ain't mine anymore. And I don't feel fine anymore. No, I ain't got time anymore, 'cause she ain't mine anymore. And I don't feel fine anymore, 'cause she ain't mine anymore. No, I ain't got time anymore. She ain't mine anymore. And I don't feel fine anymore, 'cause she ain't mine anymore. I ain't got time anymore.
I'm looking for a place to go so I can be all alone from thoughts and memories, so that when the music plays I don't go back to the days when love was you and me. Love you.
Wish I had a place to hide all my sorrow, all my pride. I just can't get along, 'cause the love once so fine keeps on hurting all the time. Where did I go wrong? Oh, moja droga, ja cię kocham. He said I love you so. Moja droga, ja cię kocham. More than you'll ever know. Kocham ciebie całym sercem. Love you with all my heart. Return to me and always be my melody of love. Oh, la, 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 la. My melody of love. La, 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 la. My melody of love. La, 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 la,
You sheltered me from harm, kept me warm, kept me warm. You gave my life to me, set me free, set me free. The finest years I ever knew were all the years I had with you. And I would give anything I own, give up my life, my heart, my home. I would give everything I own just to have you back again. You taught me how to love, what it's up, what it's up. You never said too much, but still you showed the way. And I knew from watching you, nobody else could ever know the part of me that can't let go. And I would give anything I own, give up my life, my heart, my home. I would give everything I own just to have you back again. Is there someone you know, you're loving them so, but taking them all for granted? You may lose them one day, someone takes them away, and they don't hear the words you long to say. I would give anything I own, give up my life, my heart, my home. I would give everything I own just to have you back again, just to touch you once again.
I'm coming home, I've done my time. up for me. 'Cause I couldn't bear to see what I might see. I'm really still in prison in my love. She holds the key. A simple yellow ribbon is what I need to set me free. I wrote and told her please. Oh, tie a yellow ribbon round the old tree. It's been 3 long years. Do you still want me? If I don't see a ribbon around the old tree, I'll stay on the bus, forget about us, put the blame on me. If I don't see a yellow ribbon around the old tree. Now the whole damn bus is cheering, and I can't believe I see 100 yellow ribbons around the old tree. I'm coming home.
Tie a ribbon round the old oak tree. 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 Tie a ribbon round the old oak tree.
Lou Gillum in the Blue Room, your forecast for today. It's going to be partly cloudy. Highs around 80 degrees, partly cloudy tonight. Maybe chances of rain, lows around 55. For tomorrow, cloudy, showers, isolated thunderstorms, highs around 75 degrees. Partly cloudy overnight, showers, maybe thunderstorms, lows around 45. Sunny for Sunday, highs around 65. Clear overnight, lows around 40. And for Monday, sunshine, highs around 65 degrees. That's your forecast from 100.9 FM, 590 AM, WCAB, Rutherfordton.
It's late in the evening. She's wondering what clothes to wear.
just need a bed. And then I tell her, as I turn out the light, I say, my darling, you are wonderful tonight. Oh, my darling, you are wonderful tonight. Now I told you so, you ought to know. It takes some time for a feeling to grow. But you're so close now, I can't let you go. And I can't let go. To show the way I feel. My secrets to reveal. For you are a magnet and I am steel. I can't hope that I'll hold you for long. You're a woman who's lost to your song. But the love that I feel is so strong. And it can't be wrong. To show the way I feel. My secrets to reveal. For you are a magnet and I am steel. Show the way I feel. My secrets to reveal. For you are a magnet and I am steel. For you are a magnet and I am steel. For you are a magnet and I am steel.
The hardest thing I've ever done is keep believing there's someone in this crazy world for me. The way that people come and go through temporary lives might chance could come and I might never know. I used to say no promises, let's keep it simple. But freedom only helps you say goodbye. It took a while for me to learn that nothing comes for free. The price I've paid is high enough for me. I know I need to be in love. I know I've wasted too much time. I know I ask perfection of a quite imperfect world, and fool enough to think that's what I'll find. So here I am with pockets full of good intentions, but none of them will comfort me tonight. I'm wide awake at 4 a.m. without a friend in sight. I'm hanging on a hoop, but I'm alright. I know I need to be in love. I know I've wasted too much time. I know I ask perfection of a quite imperfect world, and fool enough to think that's what I'll find. I know I need to be in love. I know I've wasted too much time. I know I ask perfection of a quite imperfect world, and fool enough to think that's what I'll find.
Let's take a walk together near the ocean shore, hand in hand, you and I. Let's cherish every moment we have been given, for time is passing by. I often pray before I lay down by your side. If you receive your calling before I awake, could I make it through the night? Cherish the love we have. We should cherish the life we live. Oh, cherish the love. Cherish the love. Cherish the love. The world is always changing, nothing stays the same, but love will stand the test of time. The next life that we live in remains to be seen. Will you be by my side? I often pray before I lay down by your side. And if you receive your calling before I awake, could I make it through the night?
WCAB.
Good morning, Mr. Sunshine. You brighten up my day. Come sit beside me in your way. I see you every morning outside the restaurants. The music plays so nonchalant. Lonely days, lonely nights. Where would I be without my woman? Lonely days, lonely nights. Where would I be without my woman? Lonely days, lonely nights. Where would I be without my woman? Lonely days, lonely nights. Where would I be without my woman? Lonely days, lonely nights. Where would I be without my woman? Good morning, Mr. Sunshine. You brighten up my day. Come sit beside me in your way. Lonely days, lonely nights. Where would I be without my woman? Lonely days, lonely days, lonely nights, lonely nights. Where would I be without my woman? Lonely days, lonely nights, lonely days, lonely nights, lonely nights. Where would I be without my woman? Lonely days, lonely nights, lonely days, lonely
I heard you on the wireless back in 52, lying awake intently tuning in on you. If I was young, it didn't stop you coming through. They took the credit for your second symphony, rewritten by machine on new technology. And now I understand the problems you could see. I met your children. What did you tell them? Video killed the radio star. Video killed the radio star.
Justices set to decide what it'll do with challenges to the abortion pill mifepristone. They've imposed a midnight deadline tonight before a stay on the drug, keeping it available, expires. Mark Lee Dixon, the director with Right to Life of East Texas, speaking out.
The Supreme Court has a great opportunity before them.
Abortion advocates want the High Court to protect access to the abortion pill. Opponents say the FDA should never have approved it. President Biden said to make his 2024 re-election announcement. Sources tell ABC News it could happen as soon as next Tuesday. Former President Trump leading a growing pack of Republican contenders against Biden. Involuntary manslaughter charges dropped against actor Alec Baldwin over the Rust movie set shooting that killed cinematographer Halyna Hutchins with a loaded prop gun. But the movie's armorer is still charged and has a hearing today.
Armorer Hannah Gutierrez-Reed is still facing charges. Her attorneys praising the special prosecutor's decision, saying they have taken a very diligent and thorough approach to the entire investigation, and they fully expect at the end of this process that Hannah will also be exonerated.
ABC's Matt Gutman. Controversy in Montana. The House Speaker there refusing to allow a transgender lawmaker to speak on the State House floor until she apologizes for what she said to fellow lawmakers. Montana Representative Zoe Zephyr, herself a transgender woman, was singled out after telling lawmakers they would have blood on their hands if they supported a bill to ban gender-affirming medical care for transgender youth. That comment leading Montana's House Speaker to refuse to acknowledge Zephyr on the floor. And the Montana Freedom Caucus has demanded she be censured. Zephyr says she will not apologize, claiming her opponents really just want to take away the rights of trans and queer Montanans. You're listening to ABC News.
If you have unfiled taxes or are in debt to the IRS, this is important news. The IRS just rolled out a new program to help struggling taxpayers more easily resolve their tax problems. It's called the Taxpayer Relief Initiative, and it opens up powerful new options for people looking to get back on the right track with the IRS. And no one knows this program like the professionals at Optima Tax Relief, America's most trusted tax resolution company. They've resolved over $1 billion in tax debt for their clients and have the expertise and experience to help you. One easy call to Optima can start the process, helping to put an end to your worries of wage garnishment, asset seizure, and other aggressive IRS actions. Make today the beginning of your fresh start with the IRS. Call the experts at Optima Tax Relief now for your free confidential consultation.
Call 800-343-6460. 800-343-6460. 800-343-6460.
Optima Tax Relief.
Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
In Sudan overnight, claims of a ceasefire amid ferocious fighting between government forces and a powerful paramilitary group. The U.S. planning for possible evacuations of thousands of Americans caught in the crossfire. More from ABC News Chief Global Affairs correspondent Martha Raddatz.
The Pentagon now rushing additional U.S. forces to nearby Djibouti to help in a possible evacuation of the dozens of U.S. Embassy personnel now sheltering in place. But an administration official telling ABC that the situation is far too dangerous now to try any evacuation. The airport has been pummeled by shelling, air traffic halted.
At least one American is among the more than 600 dead. Police in Alabama have arrested a sixth person in connection with last weekend's mass shooting at a Sweet 16 birthday party.
The connection between the 6 suspects and the victims of the shooting isn't clear, but an angry Alabama law enforcement agency Sergeant Jeremy Burkett says that whatever the reason for the bloodshed,
somebody's got to start thinking about mama. We're tired of going to the mothers and having to tell them that these kids are not coming home.
4 shooting victims are still in critical condition. 4 others were killed, more than 24 injured. Jim Ryan, ABC News.
Comedian Barry Humphries has been hospitalized in Australia with complications after hip surgery. The 89-year-old Tony Award winner, known for his stage persona, Dame Edna Everage. This is ABC News.
I'm Howard Mackler, founder of Innovation Refunds. You've heard me talking about the payroll tax refund for months. If you own a business, even if you've asked your CPA about this, you owe it to yourself to take another look. We provide a licensed and insured tax attorney who evaluates your company at my expense to determine eligibility. Businesses of all types can qualify, so go to getrefunds.com to potentially get a payroll tax refund of up to $26,000 per employee. Download the Innovation Refunds app or go to getrefunds.com, getrefunds.com.
I'm Derek Dennis, ABC News.
Does that old tractor or lawnmower have more electrical tape or duct tape holding it together than you want to admit? Well, maybe it's time to see Phil Sheehan and his staff at NC Tractor for a new Massey Ferguson tractor or mower. Massey Ferguson is a company that's been around for over 175 years. That says a lot about a company. And paired with Phil Sheehan, who's been in business for over 25 years, that says a lot about his Phil and his staff. Knowledgeable about their product, and they stand behind every sale. Massey Ferguson is the last tractor you'll ever need. NC Tractor, a dependable and reliable company that'll be there after the sale. NC Tractor on Railroad Avenue in Rutherfordton. Lou Gillum in the Blue Room, your forecast for today. It's going to be partly cloudy. Highs around 80 degrees, partly cloudy tonight. Maybe chances of some rain, lows around 55. For tomorrow, cloudy, showers, isolated thunderstorms, highs around 75 degrees. Partly cloudy overnight, showers, maybe thunderstorms, lows around 45. Sunny for Sunday, highs around 65. Clear overnight, lows around 40. And for Monday, sunshine, highs around 65 degrees. That's your forecast from 100.9 FM, 590 AM, WCAB, Rutherfordton.
Okay, so no one's answering. Well, can't you just let it ring a little longer, longer, longer? Oh, I'll just sit tight through shadows of the night. Let it ring forevermore. Look into
Winding your way down on Baker Street, lighting your head and dead on your feet. Well, another crazy day. You'll drink the night away and forget about everything. This city desert makes you feel so cold. It's got so many people, but it's got no soul. And it's taken you so long to find out you were wrong when you thought it held everything. You used to think that it was so easy. You used to say that it was so easy. But you're trying now. Another year and then you'd be happy. Just one more year and then you'd be happy. But you're crying now. Way down the street there's a light in his place. He opens the door, he's got that look on his face, and he asks you where you've been. You tell him who you've seen, and you talk about anything. He's got this dream about buying some land. He's gonna give up the booze and the one night stands, and then he'll settle down in some quiet little town and forget about everything. But you know he'll always keep moving. You know he's never gonna stop moving. 'Cause he's rolling, he's the rolling stone. When you wake up it's a new morning. The sun is shining, it's a new morning. You're going home.
WCAB.
It's gonna take some time this time to get myself in shape. I really fell out of line this time. I really missed the gate. The birds on the telephone lines are crying out to me. Next time. And I won't be so blind next time. And I'll find some harmony. But it's going to take some time this time. And I keep making demands. Like the young trees in the winter time, I'll learn how to bend. After all the tears we spent, how could we make amends? So it's one more round for experience, and I'm on the road again. And it's going to take some time this time. demands. I learned how to bend. It's gonna take some time this time, no matter what I plan. But like the young trees in the winter time, I learn how to bend. After all the tears we've spent, how could we make amends? So it's one more round for experience, and I'm on the road again. And it's going to take some time this time.
Where are those happy days? They seem so hard to find. I tried to reach for you, but you have closed your mind. Whatever happened to our love? I wish I understood. It used to be so nice, it used to be so good. So when you're near me, darling, can't you hear me? SOS. The love you gave me, nothing else can save me. SOS. When you're gone, how can I even try to go on? When you're gone, though I try, how can I carry on? You seem so far away, though you were standing near. You made me feel alive, but something died, I fear. I really tried to make it out. I wish I understood what happened to our love. It used to be so good. So when you're near me, darling, can't you hear me? SOS. The love you gave me, nothing else can save me. SOS. When you're gone, how can I even try to go on? When you're gone, though I try,
never end this song. This could take us all night long. I looked at the moon and I felt blue. Then I looked again and I saw you. Eyes like fire in the night, bridges burning with their light. Now I'll have to spend the whole night through, and honey, yes, I'll have to spend it all on you. They might fade and turn to stone. Let's get crazy all alone. Hold me closer than you'd ever dare. Close your eyes and I'll be there. After all is said and done, after all you are the one. Take me up your stair to the door. Take me where we don't care anymore. Look what you